beneficial to have as much information available for parents and students to really navigate the complex waters of college admissions and college financial aid. This is my 9th month with the College Board, so I'm fairly new to the College Board, but I'm very familiar with the mission of College Board and the different programs that they have, because I've used them both as a high school college counselor, and then also having worked in admissions at a university recruiting students as well. So I'm very familiar, even though I'm new to the College Board. I was just sharing with Conan a little bit about the role that I play within the College Board. We have a lot of departments within the College Board. A lot of times people just think the College Board is just the SAT or the PSAT or AP, but it is so much more. If you ever take a trip to New York, that's where our headquarters is located. We have so many different departments that are dedicated to providing resources not only for students and families, but also for educators, for principals, counselors, teachers, superintendents, including our policymakers at state and federal levels. So we certainly have a ton of different departments working very hard to try to provide as much information as we can. So I really appreciate you being here. I was telling Conan this week I traveled to the great state of Montana. I'm in Nevada next week, and then the following week I'm in Louisiana. We have to present, some of the job that I do besides doing presentations is we have to present how your students are doing on the SAT, on the PSAT, on AP. We have to present that data to both the state and national leaders. So we meet with all the departments of education and meet with the higher ed leaders in every state and provide them with reports on how their students are doing within their state. So that's just a little bit of the work that I do. My primary work is to work with districts. So I do a lot of work with superintendents, assistant superintendents of curriculum, counseling educators at the district level. We try to provide more resources and strategies to get more students into college. So any opportunity that I get to meet with students and to meet with parents, I very much appreciate, because my last job as a college counselor at a charter school in San Diego, I used to have a lot of interaction with parents and students. So I missed that part of helping students apply for college and helping them find scholarships and helping them with their letters of recommendation, and then getting the excitement when they get that accepted letter, or hopefully not too many denial letters, but that's a great process. And then before that, I used to work at the University of San Diego doing admissions, recruiting students all over California and in different parts of the country. So that's a little bit of background about what I do. How many of you are high school 9th graders? Any 9th graders? All right, great. Or have son or daughter that is in 9th grade. Great. Yes. Next week, it starts next week. Coming next. How many are going to be 10th graders next year? Okay. All right, a few. How many 11th graders for next year? Okay. And then how many seniors for next year? Okay, a couple of you. Some of you. The senior year is such a challenging year because everything just comes, to the forefront of what you need to do with college applications, with scholarships, with retaking the SAT. There's a lot of things that happen senior year. Anybody in middle school, or have son or daughters that are in middle school? Okay, a few of you. Okay, great. So what I want to do today is I have about half an hour with you, maybe a little bit more as well. I'm going to go quickly through the slides that I've prepared. They're very standard slides. I'll give you a few updates about what's new with the different programs that we have that are for high school students. But I really want to open it up to questions that you may have. So if there's anything specific about any of the programs that I can answer for you, I'll do that. And if there's any questions I can't answer, then I will take down your information and then follow up with you as well. Okay? So grab my clicker here and make it a little easier. A little bit about the College Board. So the College Board has been around for more than 100 years. It actually started with some of the Ivy League schools getting together and figuring out that there are students applying to each one of our schools, and every one of us has a different admissions test. So every university that students apply to, they had to take a separate admissions test. And so the Ivy League schools, headed by Harvard, got together and said, you know what, why don't we create one test that can be used for all of our schools, and all of us will use that test for admissions. And that's how the College Board of Colleges was founded. So we primarily, of course, started with the SAT, but since then have expanded to different programs and opportunities we have for students. The College Board functions in two ways. One is like myself, a paid employee of the College Board, but most of the work that is done is by our volunteers. It's a membership organization. So our members include teachers, counselors, principals, superintendents, state leaders, and then we have all the folks on the higher education side, so admissions counselors, directors of admission, deans of enrollment, university presidents, we have financial aid folks. So all of them create the College Board. And they provide leadership. So if you ever see changes, like I'm going to mention changes to the AP program, or changes to the SAT, or changes to other things that we're doing, they all came through our committees. They are recommendations that are done by our teachers, our counselors, our superintendents, our directors of admission. They ask for certain things, and the College Board responds. So we certainly are an organization that's very large, but we value so much our educators on both the high school and the higher ed side. Here's the challenge that we have, and you might already know this, but out of every 100 students in the U.S., only 69 will graduate from high school, and only 20 of those will obtain their bachelor's degree. And so we have this huge problem in education, where there are not as many students getting a bachelor's degree. And we know there's different paths, certainly a community college, certainly an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, but it just doesn't stop at a bachelor's degree nowadays, right? So master's, PhD, law degree, medical degree. So we know that this is a challenge not only in California, but in other parts of the country, and the College Board is trying to do as much to try to get more students college educated. You may have seen this slide somewhere else, but it just tells you a little bit about what colleges look for. A lot of times people think, well, it's just, the test scores are very important. They are. But as someone from the College Board, is going to tell you, it's not the only thing. This was a survey done by NACAC, and I should probably have the latest information. That's 2007, not 2007. But they look at grades in college prep courses. When I worked in admissions, the first thing that I did was to look at the transcript of the student and look to see where the student is coming from. That is very important. I need to see what type of school environment the student comes from. Because not every student gets a chance to go to every high school in the U.S. There's various schools. Some schools may offer some curriculum. Some schools may offer 20 AP classes. Some schools may only offer 5. Some schools may limit the students only to take AP classes in the senior year. Some may have them take them as soon as freshman year. So every school is different. And so your grades that you get in those higher level classes in those schools are what's important. Grades in your overall classes, and of course down here we have standardized tests, which is also in the top 5. This is our College Board College Readiness Pathway. There are other components, but these are the programs that we have. Starting in middle school, we have a pre-AP curriculum. We have school districts signing on to give this curriculum to their students. Not too many in California. We do have a few in Los Angeles and San Diego and in San Bernardino County. But that is English, language arts, and math. That's a curriculum in the 6th through 12th grade. College Ed is a college and career planning program. Ready Step is our 8th grade assessment. Just like the PSAT and the SAT, it's an assessment that's given to 8th graders to see how they are on track in critical reading, math, and writing. Not every school gives that test, so if it's something that you're interested in, certainly you can talk to your counselor. The PSAT, which I think is one of the most powerful tests that a student should take. At my charter school, I made all of my students take the PSAT. I made all my students take the SAT or the ACT as well, but all the students had to take the PSAT because it's a great indicator to see how students are ready, not only for the SAT, but also for the skills that are needed for SAT. AP Potential is a product of PSAT, AP courses, and then, of course, the SAT and college admissions. This just shows you in a graph the different tests that we have, starting in the 8th grade, the PSAT and the 10th, 11th, and then the 12th, 11th, 12th, the SAT. As I mentioned, this is the 8th grade assessment. This is the second year that the College Board is administering the Ready Step. We have a lot of districts across the country that have signed on to administer Ready Step, and we have a lot more. It's a test that's given in the school, so students cannot go outside and take the test. They have to take it at their school site. PSAT, which is one of the most powerful tests, as I mentioned before, that a student can take. How many of you have taken the PSAT? How many of you have used this score report? This is a very underutilized tool. When you get your scores back, these are your scores up here. But it's not just your score, it's also this. Take really good close at what the PSAT is telling you. What kind of skills am I mastering, and what kind of skills do I need to work on? Because it's not just the score, but if this is preparation for the SAT, I need to know what section in math do I need to work on? What section within critical reading do I need to work on? So this just gives you an idea of your answers and your skills, but if you go online, this explains why you got that answer incorrectly on your PSAT. It tells you why the correct answer is correct. It also gives you a personalized study plan. So if you want your own free SAT prep class based on your PSAT scores, this is it. This is free when you take the PSAT. So you just log in, and it gives you questions specific to the areas that you need to work on. How many of you have used my study guide? No one's used it. All right. Flip through some of these. Okay. It also helps you look for colleges. So for those juniors and seniors in the room, if you haven't started already gathering a good college list, I spoke to a few parents back there. One of the most powerful tools, besides, of course, your SAT scores and other things, is the most powerful tool is your college list. If you have a solid college list, that will dictate everything that you need to do in order to prepare for admissions. Because some schools may look at the writing section. Some schools may not. Some schools may want an additional writing sample. Some schools may want an interview. Some schools may give more weight to your critical, your activities that you do. Some schools may not even look at your activities that you do. It all depends on the colleges that you're looking at. So finding a good list of schools is the most important thing. All right. This just gives you a graph. As you know, taking the test more than once, many students take the SAT at the end of their junior year and then again at the start of their senior year. Students that take the PSAT, we've done a research. We collaborated with 100 colleges and universities across the country, and we looked to see, of those students that took the PSAT once or twice, how did they do on their SAT versus students that never took the PSAT. And so this was a study done that usually students that take the PSAT before they take the SAT do better the first time they take the SAT. And this is just the graph showing that those students, this is the first time students are taking the SAT, and the graphs on top are usually the students that take the PSAT either sophomore and junior year or just the junior year. So again, that practice that students take, whether it's the official PSAT or a practice test, is usually very beneficial. All right, I'm going to go quickly through the SAT. How many of you taken the SAT already? Okay. It's a long test, correct? For those of you that never, I was an SAT site supervisor for a while. It's a very long test. Bring snacks, get plenty of sleep, find out where your test center is located the day before or way before that, because it is a very long day. You don't want to be stressed out about some of those logistics, and you want to focus just on taking the test. The test, it has 3 different sections, just like the PSAT and Ready Step: critical reading, math, and writing. Those are essential components to being successful in college. I already mentioned this in terms of taking the SAT. Some students take the SAT, 10th grade. I've heard students take it in the freshman year. Some students take it in middle school for certain programs. It's really appropriate for the junior and senior year, but some students take it earlier than that. And that's why we have the PSAT and Ready Step, to give those appropriate tests when they're younger in high school or in middle school. We have a new SAT prep website. So if you wanted to go online and look at all the free resources that are there, that's something that you definitely want to look at if you haven't been on the SAT website recently. This just gives you a quick glance at all the free stuff. I want to just go to one. SAT Skills Insight. Has anybody used that? Okay. What SAT Skills Insight? This is new. This is new last year. If you want to, if you look at your SAT score or your PSAT test score, and you, let's say in the math section, you click on math, and then you look at the score bands. If you scored here, but you want to be here, you click on it, and it gives you questions that you need to answer in order to get that type of score. So it is by score band, not necessarily all these questions tossed at you, but looking to see, I want to be, of course everybody wants to be here, right? 700, 800. So you click on it, and then you go by skills. And in this case, it's going to be skill 2, which is algebra and functions. And then you go and you can look at sample questions. And the difficulty of the questions gets higher, of course, as you go up the score bands. So this is a really great tool, if you haven't already looked at it, to take a look at that online SAT Skills Insight. Something else that I will go back to the PowerPoint really quick is one thing that a lot of parents usually like is the great SAT books that we provide. We provide a list on our website of 101 great books that we recommend. We know that critical reading has to do with reading. So if students that start reading earlier on, especially in the 9th and the middle school years, this gives a list that we recommend. So if you're looking at summer books to read, maybe your teacher's already given you a reading list, maybe you're looking for a great book over the winter break, this is a great list to look at, and then go to a bookstore or online, Amazon or something, and find one of these books. This is a great list for students to use. So I would definitely spend some time exploring all the free resources that we have. Something new in our preparation center is a lot of times students take the SAT subject test, and there hasn't been a lot of resources in the past. This year we have a new study guide that has full-length practice tests for each one of the subject tests. And so you can find that online as well. So there's a lot of great resources that you definitely should take advantage of. It talks a little about the subject test. Let me stop here for subject test. Every year for the next, I want to say like 6 years or so, I think it's 5 or 6 years, we are updating the AP courses. Our AP program has a new leader directing the AP program, and he is a very innovative leader, and he's trying to do a lot of creative additions to the AP program. One of those ideas that he has received from our teachers and from our universities is that our AP courses, how many of you taken an AP course? It's a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of content that you need to study, correct? Yes. So our teachers are saying, we can teach that, but we really want students to know specific areas, and we want to spend more time, but we can't because we have to move along to get through the entire curriculum so our students do well on their exams, their AP exams. And so what the AP test has done is listen to that, and our universities are saying the same thing, and so every year we're redesigning AP courses. This year we're starting with AP French, AP German, and AP US History. I'm sorry, AP World History. Next year we're doing AP Biology, AP Latin, and AP Spanish Literature and Culture.